Yo, what's happening, guys? Coming at you from downforsoundshop.com. In this video, we're going to be going over a few different things on figuring out if your box is not tuned properly and what will cause that. So we're going to jump right into it. So one of the things it could be if your box is, say, too big. When we make boxes, for instance, like this, this is primarily for two sundown audio or two subwoofers that need about 2.5 cubes each. So then it's a very heavy duty application. And you can see there's a triple baffle on here and it's braced up really well. There's dual layers here, triple baffle on the front, so it's very heavy duty. So this was specifically made for like the bigger sundown audio subs or subs that need a box something like this. 2.5 cubes for a 12 is, I would say, kind of standard for a recommendation on a ported enclosure for a beefy 12-inch sub, such as we'll just use a sundown ZV6 for instance. So if we were to, the reason why 2.5 cubes is perfect for sundown, and we know this, is because they've already done all the testing on all different types of boxes to get what's going to perform optimally. So when people are like, oh, do you think I could use a 2-cube box with those subs, like 2 cubes per sub? Sure, you can, but it's gonna start narrowing the bandwidth, and it could possibly also heat your subs up like faster, because it's just not as efficient when you have the sub outside of what's perfect for it, or what they've already figured out to be perfect for it. So yes, you could do that, but it's not going to perform optimally. So once you get to the, say, 2 cube or 2.5 cubes per sub on an enclosure like this, the sub's going to be able to play like it should, sound like it should, and it's not going to be overworking on either like thing. So that's where you would get into the perfect size, and also the tuning. So this box is tuned at 32 hertz, which is a good middle ground for a sundown subwoofer. They can play the lows, obviously, but if you're going to have the subs where you want it to play a decent range, that also plays into the airspace of the enclosure and the tuning that you prefer. A sundown sub usually will play, say, 30 to 35 hertz really well. Sometimes like the ZV6 or whatever, it'll play down into the mid 20s, and it also depends on where you're tuning it at. But the further you tune the subwoofer, say the lower you tune it, it gets away from, say, the FS of the subwoofer, which is what the subwoofer likes to play naturally. So say if the FS of the subwoofer is 32 and you want to tune your box at 22, will it play it? Sure. Will it play it optimally? Probably not, because it wasn't designed for that frequency, to shine at that frequency. Yes, it'll play it, but you'll see it fall off. So moving on to the, I don't know if that'd be the, how many different things that we've been over? We might have already went over 3 different things, but going on to if the box is too big. So you also have people say, oh, can I put the sundown ZV6s and the 12s in 3 cubes per sub? You can, and sometimes you can get a little benefit on the lows from that, but the problem is getting too much airspace. Is almost like the subwoofer is free airing, because it doesn't have enough like back pressure, or the box is too big. So it's almost like it's not even in a box, depending on how much bigger you go. So it can start flopping around and or unloading. So depending on the power and everything like that, if you have a good amount of power on it, then you could hear the sub start bottoming out because it's playing outside of like the tuning frequency, or the box is also too big. So that's going to be some things to look for in an enclosure. And if you think of things that like have helped you, or that you look at and found out in enclosures that's either hurt your subs or made them not perform well. Oh, one last thing, a bonus tip. Also, especially when you're dealing with heavy duty subwoofers, I mean, that's going to be like more so the tuning, but this kind of goes into the tuning, is making sure your box is like heavy duty enough for the subwoofer that you're running. Because if you have for instance, a ZV6, and you put it in a box that's just a single baffle, like 1 layer thick, it's probably going to break the box, especially over time, but it's going to be flexing the box so much. Your box is essentially going to be breathing when it's playing, and anytime you have baffle flex or box flex, the efficiency is going way down. So that's another thing. That's why we built these boxes, these heavy duty or the HD3 boxes by Down for Sound. We did these specifically for the big boy subs to be able to handle like lots of power and big heavy subwoofers such as the ZV6s or even bigger. So anyway, that's another important tip there. But we appreciate you checking this out. If you need anything, hit us up, downforsoundshop.com. And also don't forget, we have a ton of different financing options on the website under the financing tab. So be sure to check those out, and we'll see you in the next one. Later. What's happening, guys? If y'all enjoyed all the high content that you saw in that video, be sure to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram under the Lifer Price, and also Down for Sound Shop on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget Snapchat. I'm JPD4S on there, so be sure to check me out there. We'll see you in the next one. Later.